Electrifying sports talk from start to finish. You're going wire to wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
It is a Tolo Thursday, baby. We're rocking, we're rolling. It is a wonderful, wonderful day to talk sports with you. Welcome into Wire to Wire. He's Diesel back in the Ingalls Market Studios. I'm Cole Bryson, live on location at Burns High School ahead of the Burns-Spartanburg basketball game tonight. Let me know, Diesel, if I'm too hot. I know I'm talking about my voice, the levels. I know not my appearance, so don't start coming at me this early in the show.
That's an everyday problem for a guy like you.
It is. Welcome into the show on a Thursday. Good to see 14 Tolos already watching the stream, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. JB says, Tolo boys. What's up, JB? Good to hear from you. As always, good to see you. And Diesel, we are now just inching our way to the Super Bowl, one day at a time. We only have 3 days remaining now until the big game, and that's what we start the show with on this Thursday edition, talking about the matchups within the game within the game on Sunday. But before we do that, do we have a breakdown of colleges of who's participating in the Super Bowl? Is that right?
We do here. You know, there's always the never-ending debate, which conference is better, which conference is sending more draft picks to the NFL, which conference has this and that. You know, the comparison is the thief of joy, Cole, but that's what we do. We steal people's joy on this show.
Yep.
And if you are an SEC fan, you got to feel pretty good about yourselves right now, because the SEC represents the most number of players on these Super Bowl rosters.
Wow.
But not by much. Not by much. This is a breakdown, all courtesy of CFB Red Zone on Twitter. That's where I found this, Cole. So I'm going at their word here.
Yeah.
Okay. The SEC has 30 players, 30 alumnuses playing in this game. And this is, They use what was listed on the official Super Bowl roster webpage. I know things are going to get harder and harder and more confusing as these guys are transferring between 3, 4, 5, 6 schools over the course of their careers. But here's how it breaks down. SEC has 30 players in this game. The Big Ten has 25. The ACC has 14. The Big 12, just 7 players playing in the Super Bowl. The Group of 5 has 14 players. FCS has 12. There's 1 player from Division II, and that would be a player who's coming from my hometown team, the Lenoir-Rhine Bears, playing in this game. And there are 3 players from independent schools, 2 from Notre Dame and 1 from UConn.
How about that? Only one problem here, Diesel, is I'm looking at this wonderful graphic you have on the screen here, on the rundown. And for those that just tuned into the show, number one, welcome into Wire to Wire. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. We are looking real quick at the teams, the conferences that represent the 2 teams in the Super Bowl. But Diesel, I only see one problem. I think there has been a Clemson Paul logo left off.
Omitted?
Oh, wait a minute. Does that mean there's not a Clemson Tiger, but there is a South Carolina Gamecock?
As a matter of fact, there are 3 South Carolina Gamecocks playing in this game.
So no Tigers, 0 Clemson Tigers playing in the Super Bowl. How about that?
That's a weird one. Alabama, no surprise here, Cole, is leading the charge with 7 players playing in this game. And by the way, I used what conferences these schools are currently in. Now, if there is, for example, a Southern Cal player who graduated like 6 years ago, he played obviously in the Pac-12. Now they're in the Big Ten. So I just used their current conferences.
Gotcha.
So that was way too much effort for my little pea brain to go back and find out. But Alabama has 7 players in. LSU has 5 players playing in this game. Michigan and Southern Cal each have 4. Teams that have 3 players in this game: Auburn, Illinois, Minnesota, shocker there, NC State, Ohio State, and Texas among the schools that have 2 players. South Carolina, they have 3, actually. So that's an incorrect one there. Boise State, Cal, Eastern Washington. Shout out to the Eagles with that red field up there. Houston, Miami, Michigan State, Missouri, North Carolina, North Dakota State. What, Cole?
Bison?
Bison.
Bison.
They have 2 players playing in this game. Notre Dame has 2. Ole Miss has 2. Penn State has 2. And Washington State has 2.
How about that? Texter on the Choi Law Firm text line at 844-326-3663 gets in and says, if the Big Ten continues winning national championships, it may not be long before they take over the SEC for the most players in the Super Bowl.
Might be right.
I'd say less than 5 years, says the texter. That's a good point.
This is a 1-year snapshot. I would be willing to guess that the number was higher for the SEC and lower for the Big Ten the farther and farther you go back. But again, that's just a guess.
How about that, though? The Gamecocks representing in the Super Bowl with 3. How do you like that news on a Thursday? 3 Gamecocks to 0 Tigers. I know Clemson had some representatives, Diesel, last year with the Philadelphia Eagles, right, and the Kansas City Chiefs. You had, I believe, off the top of my head, both teams last year had a Clemson Tiger, especially with Shipley on the Philadelphia Eagles. And if I'm not mistaken, he even got some carries last year in the Super Bowl. So really interesting stuff there on this conference breakdown. If you just tuned into the show, let's dive into the Super Bowl. Want to hear from you, like Juan Tolo already texted in at 844-326-3663. That is the Joy Law Firm text line. The phone lines are also open as well. I believe they are. Diesel, are they open? Are we opening the phone lines? Big announcement?
Wide open as you can be. Like a corner 3 that is inevitably going to clang off the front of the rim because, well, that's what happens when you're wide open.
Let's do it.
You ever have you called you? So you've been calling Burns basketball for how many years? Is this your first season?
First season with Burns, yeah.
Have you yet said the words that he was almost too open to hit that shot?
Oh, not yet. That's a good one though.
Because they all say it.
They do. Maybe I'll break that one out tonight. That's a good idea. Maybe I'll break it out tonight. Let's dive into what I love most about football. And the great thing is, Diesel, when I watch a football game, I get to see the game within the game, right? The matchups within the matchup. The bad thing is, after Sunday, it will be 6 more months until I get to do that, right? Because we have to go 6 entire months without the game of football. However, one of the things that I love most about the game of football is the game within the game, the matchups within the matchup, the tendencies, what the Patriots will try to do to Seattle, what the Seattle Seahawks will try to do against the New England Patriots. Let's start with the Patriots offense, Diesel. Drake May. Is he hurt? I don't know. Have we heard? Is he okay? Is he healed miraculously, by the way?
He's claimed that he was full go in practice.
Okay.
And people keep bringing up Sam Darnold's oblique injury. So neither one of these quarterbacks feeling 100% if you believe the reports that you read.
Well, let's dive into that offensively for the New England Patriots with quarterback Drake May. A very reliable passing threat. Even though his numbers in the postseason, Diesel, don't show that, he's been elite this season. Really good accuracy. What I also like about Drake May is his big play ability, a very good completion rate, hovered above 72% on the season, which is incredible. The Patriots offense overall is top tier in EPA and scoring, but has taken a dip in efficiency in the playoffs, especially versus these tougher fronts they faced. What I think is going to be fun to watch, offensive line of New England. May has been sacked a lot, Diesel, in big games. And I believe the Patriots will want to run play action as much as possible in this game on Sunday. So let's watch that. You, I, the Tolos on Sunday. We don't have to keep a tally mark, but let's watch because I want us to do this experiment. Diesel, let's watch and see how often New England runs play action on Sunday night because of Seattle's defense, especially their linebacking core being so good. I think they'll want to try to freeze those Seattle linebackers as much as possible, and they've done a really good job of that this season. Also, when you do that, guess what Drake May is? He's athletic, and he can scramble and design quarterback runs. I think that makes him more of a threat. You've seen that in the postseason. He has a very high scramble efficiency. So that's number one where we start. Drake May, play action, trying to freeze the linebackers of Seattle. Diesel, I think that's a big, big part of if if the New England Patriots will be successful on Sunday.
Yeah, these linebackers stay back a lot in zone. They don't crash very often, and I wonder if Drake May and that offense for the Patriots can kind of trick them and pull them into crashing down to stop the run. I mean, how efficient and how elite is their run game going to be? How much is Drake May going to use his legs to maybe pull those linebackers in a little bit, because their secondary is really, really good. Talking about the Seattle Seahawks. Sure. They need to get those linebackers down towards the line of scrimmage to open up some vertical plays down the field, because if everything the Patriots can do is 10 to 15 yards or less, they're going to be really, really limited in this game.
Well, the Seahawks defense, Diesel, has allowed the fewest points and has dominant metrics in coverage. They have dominant metrics in pressure and run defense. So when you talk about this being a very complete defense, they have an elite DVOA, which for those that don't know is defense adjusted value over average. It's an advanced football metric that measures a team's units or players' performance on a play-by-play basis, comparing it to the league average baseline, Diesel. And they're very, very good in that regard. I'm going to watch Sunday Seattle and press coverage and early pressure. Seattle's defense, they're really, really good against big plays. They're disciplined. They have top-level situational discipline, Diesel, as a unit. And I'm going to watch Sunday. Another thing I want us to watch on this defense is the press coverage, how they play the receivers of New England earlier in the game. I think they'll want to play press coverage, and I think they'll also want to disrupt the quarterback rhythm. The Seattle defense thrives on taking passing possessions to third and long, which forces what? More predictable dropbacks from Drake May. So when you talk about this press coverage, Diesel, you and I talked about it before. Getting to the quarterback's important, right? But one thing Seattle likes to do early in games, they want to press the receivers to disrupt the quarterback rhythm, right? They don't want Drake May on Sunday to get into a rhythm, because Drake May, even though his yards this season in the postseason haven't been spectacular, Seattle knows that they cannot allow that guy to get into rhythm. Obviously, they'll try a little pass rush, but I think more than that, watch the outside and what Seattle does on the New England Patriots receiver to try to disrupt, take some of those passing lanes away, Diesel, and disrupt that timing. I think that'll be important on Sunday.
Yeah, what I like about this game really is that it's strength on strength. What the Seahawks defense is really good at is really what Drake May thrives at, and his ability to be multiple, to get the ball, again, down the field, 15 plus, 15 to short, to run the ball with his legs, and obviously to use his run game and his tight ends as well. This is going to be a fascinating cat and mouse matchup, and how much interest, desire, or how much scheming is going to go into play here to try to get these teams out of their tendencies.
Sure.
If that means you're the Patriots offensive coordinator, are you going to do what you've done all season long, which is what got you here, right? But you also know that what you do is what Seattle's really good at defending.
Diesel, I agree with you. I think it is strength on strength. Before we flip over to the Seahawks offense, when you look at what Drake May will have to do, I think it's going to come down to, I think you mentioned this a minute ago with the secondary. I think it's going to come down to, can Drake May beat Seattle's tight corners, their tight safeties? Because, as I said, Seattle's going to send pressure, but the Patriots will have to use quick slants. They will have to use outside leverage, and I think they will have to use a little tempo as well in this offense on Sunday night. Early short passing, New England, I think will lead to some intermediate crossing routes against the zone of Seattle, where I think they'll find a little bit of success. But May scrambling, again, we've talked about this a few times. If the coverage defensively holds in place, Diesel, I think I'm not going to say it's like the only thing that can sustain drives, but I do believe Seattle's going to make life so tough on the Patriots offense that there are going to be situations Sunday where you and I are watching this game and think, man, Drake May's got to take it and run. If they want to extend these drives, you know how sometimes we watch and think, quarterbacks are trying to extend a passing play, but they have running lanes. Like you're already yelling at the TV, run, 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 run. I think that's going to happen on Sunday.
If you look at Drake May's pass breakdown this season, Cole, he's fairly consistent across the board at all these different ranges. He completed 128 short passes this year, completed 122 intermediate passes, and he completed let's see, I don't have the number here off the top of my head. He completed a decent number of deep passes as well.
Sure.
Attempted quite a few, obviously. So the point is that they really try to work different depths in this secondary throughout the season, and they've shown the ability to not really be limited to one certain kind of yardage range.
Sure. And now I will say this, but as we flip over to Seattle offensively, Diesel, you talk about strength on strength. I think when it's New England offensively and Seattle defensively, I think it is strength on strength, but let's go to the other side now. Seattle offensively, I think this is where the mismatch comes on Sunday. I love Sam Darnold's poise in the pocket this year. His intermediate timing on a lot of these intermediate routes has been spectacular, especially Diesel with players like Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. Playmakers matter. Let's put that out there, right? Having the dudes matters. He's got the dudes. They also will push the ball deep a little bit and put some run action in there as well that will stress the Patriots linebackers, in my opinion. And I think that's a big potential mismatch early. I told you what to watch early with New England offensively. For Seattle, watch this early. I think the Seahawks run early to try to set up play action for Sam Darnold. I think you're going to see a commitment to the run from Seattle early in the game on Sunday. Seattle's 9th highest run rate early down. So if they don't commit to the run, I think the Patriots can jump keys to disrupt on that defense. I think Seattle, and they've done a good job of this all season, Diesel, but I think they have to go in and set the tone with the run game. Their offensive line runs fits, in my opinion, versus New England's second-level defenders. The Patriots are good. We've talked about their defense, but I just believe that what they do offensively can spill some major run lanes, and I think that's important. I told you what to watch early with New England, but let's see if Seattle Sunday comes out and commits to the run game. I think that's going to be crucial because, in big games, hey, in the NFL, you got to run the football if you want to sustain drives.
Yeah, well, it's easy to commit to the run game when you got Kenneth Walker Jr. I mean, that guy is an absolute stud.
Yep.
He is Kenneth Walker III. Apologies
He's so good.
To his dad and his granddad. But you're right. I mean, Sam Darnold is not the most elite arm in the game. He's also an older guy. He also has varying degrees of an oblique strain, right? How much will that limit his ability to throw the ball deep? And he's not really a deep threat kind of guy. Again, to pull that same stat for Sam Darnold, he attempted about 170 short passes, 160 intermediate passes, and about 150 deep passes. Can he do that in this game if he is a little bit banged up? 2 weeks is 2 weeks, and you got a lot of time to come back from that. But, I mean, all it takes is a shot. And we know that this Patriots defense does a great job getting to the quarterback, and that the Seattle Seahawks, one of their weaknesses is sacks given up. They gave up a lot of sacks against Sam Darnold this season. So it might be one of those things you certainly don't want to see it happen. But if Sam Darnold gets a little banged up or a little nicked up early in this game, it may be on Kenneth Walker to get this thing done, and it may be on them to keep those passes a little bit shorter.
Yep.
Which with the Patriots and how well they play man coverage, that's a lot of dudes moving around in a short space of the field, 20, 25 yards and in. And hey, maybe that's one of those situations that lends to a pick, a couple of turnovers, and anything could happen at that point.
Hey, and I'm glad you brought that up. Last thing I'll say about Walker, you're right. He's a big part of it. Their MO this year, if you look at how they finish drives, they have been very successful, Seattle has, in the red zone. And you know what that hinges on a lot of times for the Seahawks unit? Inside zone and misdirection. That inside zone and misdirection all season long for Seattle has created mismatches. And again, I like this Patriots defense, but I think that continues to create mismatches. And I think when you talk about having the dudes, the personnel, and the play calling, Seattle is just a little bit more of a complete package in my mind and I think that's why they win the game. But Kenneth Walker, he's a dude. I mean, there's no doubt. He's been fun to watch this year.
Yeah, there you go. We have a texter, Cole, who asks, if Fernando Mendoza is going number 1 in the draft in April, who else do you think goes in the top 5? Well, it feels pretty safe to say that Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame is going to go inside the top 5. He is really, really good.
No doubt. No doubt. He's the best running back in the draft. Should be, right?
Yeah.
Should be. If that pans out, we don't know. But Fernando goes 1. I've seen a lot of people say that Spencer Fano, one of the tackles, I think the best tackle in the draft out of Utah, is going to go high. Now, does a tackle go top 5? That's a good question. I mean, Jeremiah Love, here's what I'll say about Jeremiah Love. Diesel, Jeremiah Love should go top 5. Will he? I don't know. He should.
True.
I'll tell you this, one more. Ruben Bain Jr. should go top 5. Will he? I don't know. I just think that Ruben Bain Jr. might slip down to 7 or 8, maybe 9. But that guy, to me, Diesel, that guy's a top 5 draft pick, right?
Yeah, and it all depends on, the order, how things move around.
Team needs.
Yep. I'm looking at Matt Miller's latest mock draft. This is on ESPN.com, posted 3 days ago if you want to go look at it. He's got Fernando Mendoza going 1 to the Raiders. Sure. He's got Arvell Reese, an edge guy out of Ohio State, going to the Jets, number 2. Number 3, he's got Francis Mauigoa, I think is how you say it, the offensive tackle out of Miami, going to the Arizona Cardinals. With 4, he's got Ruben Bain Jr. going to the Tennessee Titans. With 5, he's got Carnell Tate out of Ohio State, the wide receiver, going to the Giants. 6, Spencer Fano, the tackle, to the Browns. 7, he's got Caleb Downs from Ohio State, safety, going to the Commanders.
So there you have it. What Matt Miller says is the gospel, right? No, I do like Matt Miller. He does a good job. We'll see. Well, listen, we've got a few more months to talk mock drafts, and we will for several months. But it'll be a lot of fun. I just think ultimately you've got some tough decisions to make there when it comes to those players. And like I said, or you said it, the team needs, you may not need a wide receiver and a guy like Carnell Tate, but it'll be interesting to see.
It's true. Cole, yesterday we had a phenomenal conversation with the head baseball coach at Clemson, Eric Bakich. We had to bring him on at 6 o'clock because of, his availability or relative lack thereof, as it is with a college baseball coach, always super busy this time of year. But for those Tolos who didn't get a chance to hear it yesterday, we're going to bring it back to you next. Our 2-on-1 conversation with Eric Bakich of Clemson baseball next, right here on the Fan Upstate.
Sound off now at 844-FAN phone.
This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Well, the Clemson baseball season is rapidly approaching. It will be here before you know it, and we are stoked about it, and we are stoked to have Coach Eric Bakich join us on the show today to preview and discuss the upcoming 2026 baseball season. Coach, as always, appreciate your time. I want to start with some reading that I was doing earlier today from Kendall Rogers of D1 Baseball, even a little bit yesterday as well. Something that is still in the discussion stages, but appearing to have some momentum in the moving of the season back to the first weekend of March start date. Kendall Rogers, coach, mentioned that when you were at Michigan, you came up with a new season model, and just want to start with that in this discussion and see where things stand with that and what that model looked like for those that don't know.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, Cole. Appreciate it as always. And, happy to dive into that topic. It's, I never wrote a thesis in college or got a PhD, but I think I did the work over COVID that probably constituted what would be like doing some kind of a thesis. It was a good few months of just round-the-clock data compilation and manually entering box scores and doing a 5-year look back from 2015 to 2019, and the results were staggering. I took it from the lens of a Southern school. I didn't want to, nobody, let's be honest, nobody cares about competitive equity. Nobody wants to hear Northern teams bitch about the weather. And so I certainly wasn't going to take that approach at Michigan, and I wanted to do this study with the help of some other coaches through the lens of a warm weather school and why moving the season back was a smart financial move for warm weather schools. And that's really what it came down to. It came down to money because, academics, that's a, nice touch point. Student safety and welfare certainly, can't do anything to hurt the students, and moving the season back actually helps them by giving them more ramp time. But the obvious glaring thing was the finances and the economics of the decision of moving the season back, and it improved everybody's bottom line, starting with the Northern teams who spend the first 4 weeks getting on airplanes, 3 weeks for sure getting on airplanes, and just being able to move the season back and eliminate some of those high costs associated with travel. But then looking at the big boys, looking at the Southern schools that actually draw attendance and have real revenue streams attached to home attendance, and just take, for example, Clemson baseball this year. We have 30 home games, and 20 of them are in February and March, and 10 of them are in April and May. That's just stupid. And so then looking at everyone else, that's just this year. I haven't looked at anyone else's schedule this year other than ours, but it was about 56% of the SEC and ACC teams, warm weather big schools, that were playing the majority of their home games in February and March, but their actual attendance was better in April and May. And I'm not talking about the attendance of the season ticket. I'm talking about the people who show up to the games. Where the people who show up to the games, that actual attendance was better in April and May, and the revenue streams associated with that for alcohol sales and concession merch or whatever, those are real opportunities missed when you're playing over half your home games. When, let's be honest, the box score might say we got 5,000 people there, but my eyeballs say it's only about 2,000 in February, and so it's a little different. And so when you get down to breaking down the economics of it, it's just smarter financially, since this money is such a big issue in today's landscape of college athletics. Every dollar and cent is accounted for and scrutinized even more than ever. And for college baseball, it's never been a revenue sport. It's been a cost model. We as a sport just are a money-sucking drain to most athletic departments. It's costing the athletic departments millions of dollars to run a college baseball team. And there's a better way to do it. There's a better mousetrap, and moving the season back is that way.
Coach, it's Diesel here. Appreciate you joining us on the show, as always. I'm sure you saw or heard what happened down the road in Columbia with one of their star pitchers going down for the season. Unfortunate for those guys, but I guess good for you because you don't have to face Jake McCoy. Explain your philosophy and your practical processes to keep your pitchers sharp with plenty of reps versus healthy with enough rest.
Yeah, I mean, that sucks for them. It sucks for Jake. I mean, I don't care what team he's on. You don't want to see any kid go down. I mean, if, we're going to play them, we want to beat them when Jake's got his A game. We don't want to have a reason or an excuse of why we beat him. And, but that's terrible news. And, some of it has nothing to do with, whether the guy, how many pitches he threw in college or what he did in the fall. I mean, this is speaks more to an epidemic of overuse starting at young ages when kids are playing year round, which is, I can't speak to what any other schools are doing. I can just tell you that the burnout and the overuse starting at a young age of kids that are being asked to specialize in baseball at a young age, that's even more stupid than starting the college baseball season on Valentine's Day. And so you don't have enough time on your show to get me talking about why I think that kids need to sports sample at a young age and how dumb it is to sports specialize. The best athletes, let's put it this way, the best baseball players were athletes first. They didn't specialize in baseball when they were 12. So a lot of it could stem from that. And then obviously, you can't control what pitch counts are in high school and travel ball and things like that. So you just do your best as a college coach to minimize overuse. And luckily for all these big schools, we have a lot of resources and technology that we can monitor a whole lot better than maybe when the kids were younger. So, for us, we on purpose didn't throw a lot of our pitchers in the fall just because we wanted them to put the ball down. Even though all our kids sports specialize now and have college kids as they should, I still don't think they should be throwing a baseball 12 months a year. I still think they need to put the ball down.
We're joined by Eric. Oh, sorry, Coach. I didn't cut you off there.
Yeah. No, I'm done. Yes, that's exactly. It's perfect time to interject. I get rambling, Cole, and you probably need to just do that.
I love it, Coach. Eric Baggett's joining us right here on the Fan Upstate. Let's keep it on the mound there for a second. What did the evaluation process look like from the end of the season last year, Coach, to where you are now with some really strong arms returning for you guys with Canuck and Titsworth, and you look down McGovern, just three that I'm naming there off the top of my head. Where were you and the staff in the evaluation process from the time the season ended a year ago to where you wanted to be, whether it be guys you bring in via the portal or the recruiting the old-fashioned way as well?
Yeah, I mean, philosophically, we build our program with high school players, and we use the portal for hole fillers, gap pluggers. So we have a 40-man roster this year, and 30 of those kids are high school signees, and 10 of them are portal guys, and I like that balance. I like having 75% high school players. And so we had a lot of needs that we felt like with what we were losing from a position player standpoint, we filled those. But it was a luxury item on the mound, to answer your question, to have, one of college baseball's aces returning in Aiden Canuck. So that was a luxury item when you've got a guy who spent an ace for 2 years, returning for his junior year. And then having guys like Drew Titsworth and Talon Bell who have all made starts, returning as well. So we're fortunate in that regard to have those guys that have all made starts, have starts under their belt, coming back. And for those reasons, it's just we made the decision to not really pitch those guys much or at all in the fall, just to give them as much rest time so we can have them build up, ramp up, and strengthen as the season goes so that they are surging and spiking in the postseason and not fizzling.
Coach, I know it would shock a lot of people to know just how many hats coaches have to wear, and we've talked to you about this in the past. We know how much you really pay attention to and care about the game day atmosphere there at Clemson. I just wonder, have you ever had to reject a player's choice in walk-up music?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I tell them the story all the time. We, first off, I think I think it's more important that the crowd is activated with a player's walk-up song than it's some terrible song that makes that kid feel good, because then there's 6,000 people in the stands that are cringing when this terrible song is coming on. And so I think you want as much positive energy. Hitting's hard enough, and you want as much positive energy from the crowd as you possibly can. But I tell them all the story that, back in Michigan, we were thinking about pinch hitting, and we had to pick between two guys, and we picked the guy who had the better walkout song because the other guy's walkout song was so bad, we literally said, I don't want to hear that song. So we pinch hit the other guy.
Do you recall what that walk-up song was?
It was some gangster rap, terrible. Like, I don't mind rap. Like, I get into it with some of the guys, but this one was so bad, and there was no beat. The lyrics were terrible. It just, it was just one of those, like, what did you do the bet? Are you kidding me? This is awesome.
Coach, you mentioned some of the position players. You also talked about bringing in 75% of the class via high school recruiting compared to the portal. Does that fluctuate, not like the number 75-25, but your needs based on you, for example, this year bringing back some solid arms, needing some more position players? How do your needs going into the offseason and then translating all the way to where we are now in February dictate how you look at the portal during the offseason?
Yeah, the needs assessment all the time for 5 different recruiting classes, the portal class and then all 4 high school classes, and just always trying to, eliminate some of the dice roll that goes into naturally with projecting and recruiting and prognosticating. And so we use the portal when we have a high school signee like Dak Norris signed in the first round with the Yankees, and we got Tyler Lichtenberger. We were convinced that Jacob Jarrell was going to get drafted because he hit 15 homers as an everyday starting catcher. So we signed Nate Savoy. We had a couple of transfers leave our program, and obviously Cam Canarella. We knew he was going to get drafted, but there opened up an opportunity to sign Ty Dowley. So it's just, you just try to plug holes with the portal. I think most coaches would tell you they're not going to the portal for depth, and we certainly don't want to go to the portal for depth. We're going into, there's less guesswork with the portal because you can trust the stats. You know the stats are reliable because you know the level of competition. Whereas high school kids, stats are meaningless unless you have metrics attached with them because you don't know the level of competition. And we all know game changer, everything's a hit, right? So you can't really trust the stats. But you can with the portal because you know the level of competition, and that's a big deal. But you don't want to have one of those revolving door programs where you're bringing in 10, 15, 20 portal guys a year, and then you got this, this cycle of, players in, players out. It seems very transactional. So we like the relationship building process with the 3 and the 4 year relationship with the high school kids. So we're always going to stick to our guns with that, but we have been very aggressive in the portal. But just getting the right kids to fill those holes is what they've got.
Yeah, Coach, speaking of Tyler, I got a bone to pick with you about him because he came from my alma mater. I would have loved to have seen him in Boone for another year this year. But of these guys that you brought in, and there's not a ton that are going to be playing position roles, are there any that you say are definitely day one starters, or maybe some a little more project?
Of the portal guys?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we brought them in to make an impact. We didn't bring them in to sit the bench and have depth. I mean, and they're as advertised, some of these guys. I mean, they can really impact the ball. And yeah, you'll see a lot of those guys will make an impact right away for sure.
Coach, can you talk about the preseason banquet, February 7th, just a few days from now at the football facility? I know fans can purchase tickets on ClemsonTigers.com, but what that means to your program.
Yeah, so banquets are boring. They're stuffed shirt, boring, coach speak. No one wants to hear the coach get up there and blabber for 2 hours, right? So we switched it. We do the We Like to Party, and we're bringing in the community. Kids are under 12 are free. Students are free. The food at the event is free. 313 Cafe and bringing in food trucks and donating the food. Like, we got DJ Shea. We got bounce houses and inflatables. We got all kinds of stuff. It's going to be more of a big party. It's going to be awesome. And then we have the players introduce themselves. instead of me sit there and talk. I've done the banquet where I stand up there and talk for an hour and a half, and my wife's like, yeah, no, great, but you talk too much. And, as you guys can kind of tell the way this interview's going, I just keep blabbering. Imagine if I did that for an hour and a half at the banquet. So we switched it to, to the players introduce themselves and the seniors give the speeches. We don't bring in a guest speaker. The seniors are our guest speaker, and they give their words of wisdom for a few minutes. And it's been a lot of fun since we switched into that format a few years ago.
Coach, I grew up in the era where every kid wanted to swing like Ken Griffey Jr., and you probably remember this apparatus that you would stand in. It would help coach your swing and make you swing like Ken Griffey Jr. What comes to mind when I ask the question, what is the most pointless piece of baseball training equipment that you have ever had to use?
You're talking about the swing man. Yeah, I remember that. I tried that one out. That one was tough, man. Ken Griffey's a one-of-one, and kids who try to model. It's good to try to imitate your favorites, but, you got to understand that Ken Griffey Jr. is the son of Ken Griffey Sr. He's got a little different genetics he's pulling from than the rest of them. The dumbest things that I see kids do is when they slow themselves down. And I tell young kids this, and I tell them at youth camp, and I tell all players this. This game is designed, your body's designed to move fast. Explosion comes in all shapes and sizes, whether you're 5'11", Cam Canarella, 5'9", Cooper Ingle, or 6'6", Caden Grice. Explosion is explosion. And when you start doing gadgets, doing things that makes you slow because you're trying to be accurate, you're losing all your athleticism. Fast movers is what athletic kids are. They explode off the ground, and they translate that ground force energy throughout their swing or delivery, pitching delivery or swing, whatever they're doing, and impact the ball, whether they're throwing it or pitching. And when you take the athleticism away because you're slowing things down by being so mechanical or using some stupid gadget, that is what kills athleticism in kids, in my opinion.
Coach, my last question for you. Clemson, one of the 9 ACC teams ranked in the top 25 in the preseason coaches poll. Is that something you discuss with your team? I know, obviously, us in the media, we talk about it and we write articles about it, but where are you now in this season going into 2026, just in terms of the preseason hype and where you want your team to be regarding that?
We said this last couple of years. I stole this from someone else, but we want to be the number 1 ranked team at getting better. And then all the rankings don't matter until the last one. So let's just be the best at getting better. Let's be the best at improving. And that's all it is for us, and that's all it ever is. And then, as we all know, like teams like us, teams like South Carolina, so we're going to be judged on, obviously, our series against each other, big rivalry, but primarily on what we do in the month of June. And so in order to get to that point, you can't focus on June. You can't focus on anything outcome related in June. You just got to put the target back on today and getting better today. And then you stack all those days together. You hope to catch a few breaks, get lucky, the stars align, and you could be the last team to win.
Eric, always a blast having you on. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Coach.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Eric Package, the head baseball coach of Clemson Tigers, and you said it, Diesel, always a blast. Really good stuff there. He's got a lot of good points. I love having Coach Eric Package on.
And parents need to hear those things,
Yeah,
right?
no doubt.
Specialization, stupid gadgets, all these types of things. I remember all the training videos to try to tell you exactly how to do it. And if you didn't do it that way, then you're not going to make the team.
and a really good conversation there, and so much appreciate his time. Let's go to the phone lines where Josh wants to bring up a conversation, I believe, about Greenville Pickens Speedway. Josh, tell us what's going on, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate y'all having me on. Let me voice my opinion here. So, long story short, the current owner of the racetrack is trying to sell it to a developer, and the developer is not interested in keeping it a racetrack. He's going to tear it down and develop something else. So I'm just trying to get the word out that there's going to be a county commission office planning meeting on Tuesday the 9th, and I believe it starts at 6 o'clock, 6 or 6:30, but the address is on their website. It's 222 McDaniel Avenue, Suite B, 10 in Pickens. We're just trying to keep the racetrack around. I know there's many people, or several people, not many, several people interested in buying it and continue to run it as a racetrack. But even if we could just keep it as a historical site, that's really, we're just trying to keep it from getting tore down. And there's a lot of people out there that are trying to help move this further to keep it from getting tore down. But I'm just trying to get the word out. And I appreciate y'all letting me get on and speak.
Appreciate it, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
That is interesting. I wonder, it's sadly, Diesel, this store we live in today, and we talked about this before, but we joke, and 15, 20 years from now, will there be any woods or rural land left to develop? Yeah. I mean, I hope it doesn't happen for their sake, but I mean, it's crazy nowadays. Everything's being bought, everything's being turned into a neighborhood, right?
Yeah, I mean, we also do have a shortage of housing here in the upstate, right? I mean, the reason the prices keep going up, and up is because the demand is super high.
That's crazy to believe.
And, I know it's unfortunate. Things develop, things change, and I'm not saying the track should go away. I personally never spent a Friday or a Saturday night down at Greenville Pickens Speedway other than when it was the Holiday Lights show.
Oh,
so I've been down there for that, but I've never been down for races. And I know it means a lot to a lot of people. It just doesn't have that same meaning to me personally.
Sure.
So, who knows? Who knows what the buyer and the developer want to do with it? So it's one of those things that, hey, if it's crucial to you, if it's important to you, go to this hearing. Have your voice heard. I mean, that's the best way. Participate in our local government and our local governing of properties, and hey, at least you don't have at least you have cause to complain about it after the fact. Because if you don't want something to happen and you don't vote or you don't go have your voice be heard, you don't really have a whole lot of say in the matter.
And Josh, let us know, man. Keep us updated on what happens with it. That'll be interesting to hear. So appreciate the phone call.
When we come back, Cole, I don't know that this is going to be a watershed moment for college football, but it feels like it could be the latest in what's going on with one of the big-time lawsuits against the NCAA next.
State.
Cole, you know the song Flooding Down in Texas, right? By Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Flooding down. Can you sing it?
It's called Texas Flood. My bad. It's called Texas Flood.
Can you sing? I want to hear you sing.
Well, there's flooding down in Texas.
I may have heard it. I may have. But, that's a little too soon because they just had some really bad floods in the hill country. Remember that?
Oh, well, the hill country. I thought Texas was all flat and hot.
No, not in the hill country. It's not. Texas is like a huge freaking continent. There's a lot of it that's not flat.
Well, there is flooding in Mississippi as well, Cole. They might have to write a second verse to that song because of all the tears that are emanating and flowing out of Oxford, Mississippi, because the news came down today that the NCAA has denied Ole Miss's appeal for Trinidad Chambliss's 6th-year waiver. Recall that Trinidad, who was a good player this year and a phenomenal story, nothing that I say here detracts or deducts from what his story was, coming from a Division II school where, let's face it, a guy with his body type is far and away the best athlete on the field when he's playing at a Division II school. He comes to Ole Miss, expects to be a backup quarterback. QB1 goes down, and all of a sudden, boom, he's the guy. And, oh, my God, he's actually really, really good. Well, he tried to go for a sixth year of college football eligibility, stating that there was a medical hardship that kept him from playing while at Ferris State. The NCAA has said, nah, man, we're not going to do that. We're not going to give you 6 years because you had a sore mouth a couple of years ago. Yeah. Now, Chambliss's attorneys have filed an injunction in state court in Mississippi. That is expected to be heard on February 12th, so a week from now. Because I think it's important to hear what the ruling actually said, because I think this sets precedent for the future of college football. And as much as Ole Miss fans are now thinking, oh crap, now we got to start a sophomore.
Sure.
What are we doing here? We got to start a sophomore. It is important to understand the verbiage around what the NCAA had to say. Now, before I get to reading the ruling here, the NCAA's filing, so part of the process of adjudicating this matter, they said that collegiate sports will become ungovernable if eligibility determinations are the result of individual court decisions. And that's what we've seen, right? We saw it with Diego Pavia.
Sure.
We saw it with we're seeing it right now play out with Joey Aguilar. We're seeing it play out with Trinidad Chambliss. This is how you end up having 30-year-old dudes playing college football and still out there making money, while 18-year-old freshmen right out of high school, they got nowhere to go. They got nowhere to play. They probably get stuck in a JUCO somewhere. So I want to read a little bit of this, Cole. There's a lot of legalese in here, but we'll try to skim through as much of it as possible. This is what they had to say. The medical documentation from the 2022-23 season discloses that the petitioner, Chambliss, chose to forego surgery so he could participate in the football season, opting instead for simple medication management. That treatment worked. Chambliss reported at season's end to his physician that he had been, quote, doing very well and had not experienced any significant tonsil infections. Mississippi, did not submit any medical documentation in a waiver file indicating the petitioner suffered from any symptoms during the 23-24 seasons. And paradoxically, petitioners, Chambliss, his medical records from 2024-25 show his condition worsened during that year, yet he participated in all 15 games, led Ferris State University to a D2 national championship, won Conference Player of the Year, and was a finalist for National Player of the Year that year without claiming incapacity. So this is really fascinating, Cole. This is, for all of the attempts to say, well, he had sinus problems, he had tonsil problems, he was kept out. They said, no, the evidence in the documentation clearly states that you chose not to get your tonsils removed so that you could participate on the team. You chose medical treatment rather than surgical treatment, And then even when you played with the symptoms that you were dealing with, you were an elite football player and you kept playing anyway.
Yeah, two things on this just off the top of my head, Diesel. Number one, if you are an Ole Miss fan and you're upset about this situation that you're going to now have to turn to a sophomore, I guess the thing I would say to that is, well, guess what? You turn to a kid from Ferris State, so maybe the sophomore who's already playing Division I football is not too bad. I mean, he was recruited by Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, an SEC school. So let's not act like they're going to get a kid now from North Greenville. No disrespect to North Greenville. That's number one. Number two, I think it's a good thing that happened. However, in doing so, in this conversation, Diesel, in my mind, you're kind of exposing the NCAA. You're kind of exposing how bad and outdated and inconsistent this entire eligibility system is. So I think it's a great decision, but this is a guy who lost a full season due to a documented medical issue. He did not gain a competitive advantage from it, and now the NCAA is basically saying, again, which I think it's a very good thing, sorry, rules are rules. But we're also going to continue, I would imagine, and by the way, we've also bent rules in the past for everybody else via the portal, the COVID years, NIL chaos. So while I'm very ecstatic and excited that the NCAA took a stand today, it's hard to sell the player-first college athletics and then kind of hide behind some of this other print when a player needs flexibility. When do eligibility rules only bend? Because the NCAA has bent those rules. I think we've got to put an end to bending them.
A couple of things there. Everybody got the extra COVID year, not just individual players who felt like they missed playing time. So there's that one. But I'm glad you brought up the year of eligibility that he lost because he was medically incapacitated. Again, that's the claim, that he was medically incapacitated, because in my mind, the rule gets really snarky and kind of mean girls bitchy on that topic here, Cole. Next line. If petitioner, meaning Chambliss, could play in 2024-25 despite feeling worse than he did in 2022-23, then NCAA staff could not reasonably conclude that he was physically incapacitated during time claimed. The evidence demonstrates petitioner's lack of playing time in 2022 was completely unrelated to his tonsils. He was listed on the depth chart behind 4 other quarterbacks and simply had not yet developed the skills necessary to earn playing time over those ahead of him. Moreover, Ferris State has not at any point indicated that petitioner, Chambliss, was incapacitated during the 2022 season or submitted any contemporaneous records supporting petitioner's claim of incapacity. So Chambliss is saying, I was sick, and that's why I didn't play. The NCAA is saying, bro, you weren't sick at all. There's no documentation that you were sick. We can't just take your word at it. And by the way, you were 5th on the depth chart at the quarterback position.
Yeah, I think it's a bad excuse is what it comes down to, right? He just doesn't have a good enough reason as to why he didn't play, right? Like, I think he tried, like, hey, teacher, my dog ate my homework, that kind of deal, right? But it was too bad of an excuse. And I think the NCAA was actually in the right by denying it, even though, like I said a minute ago, I haven't been pleased with the NCAA in the past for bending rules when they see fit. But here's the problem with it. If you allow this to happen, it's a floodgate. How do you come back later to another guy and say, well, we can't, we're going to deny your eligibility? I just think we have to. Again, we've talked about this before, Diesel. You're not putting the toothpaste back in the bottle, but you can take hard stances. You can just put an end to things, and you can deny, right? And that's what you're going to have to do because, like I said, if you don't go that route, it's going to be – I mean, are we going to talk about another player wanting to get another waiver? I mean, this is going to become like a every month kind of story, right? This is what college football off season's become. Yeah,
and while submitting his lawsuit in Knox County, Diego, the quarterback from Joey Aguilar, actually referenced the Pavia rule. So
course.
you got players suing, saying, well, that guy over there
Yeah.
sued, so I should be able to get additional eligibility as well.
Right.
And this was interesting, Cole. This is where it really matters. Like, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Training Day, but Denzel Washington in that movie has a great line. He says, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And Trinidad Chambliss can't prove that he was sufficiently sick to not be able to play in the year that he's claiming. And the NCAA specifically say here that they reviewed but did not assign weight to the physician's letters in the record authored in recent months. Giving the letters were not issued in the course of treatment, they are not considered to be as reliable as contemporaneously authored treatment notes, i.e., a doctor's note 3 years after you claim that you were incapacitated for a season does not fly with us. If you have documentation at the time while this is happening, sure, we will consider that with appropriate weight, but we're not going to take some doctor's word from 3 years ago claiming that, oh yeah, you were actually sick.
And Diesel, I know this sounds harsh, and not to say that we can't take it a case by case scenario and allow this to happen and allow players to be granted extra years of eligibility. I'm not saying we can never do that, but I guess as a college football fan, and I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are on this. As a fan, I just am sick of it. I think we need to take a hard stance, almost to where we say 99% of waivers are denied. That's where I am as a fan. I don't want to. I'm sorry. You know what? We're out here working. We're grinding to try to make a living. I get it. You want all these other different reasons and 7th, 8th year of eligibility. I just want a hard no. That's what I want from the NCAA. Again, I'm not asking them to fix all the problems they've created. I just want hard stances, and I think eventually, Diesel, enough of those hard no's will deteriorate or maybe push some of these players to not even try. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, and I would challenge fans of a team, and not that we have a ton of Ole Miss listeners in our audience, but of course Ole Miss listeners are selfish. Ole Miss fans are selfish in this situation. They want Chambliss to play because he obviously gives them the best chance to be successful next year, as opposed to an unproven, I think their number 2 quarterback, who I guess now is their number 1 quarterback, I believe that he is an underclassman, either a freshman or I'm pretty sure he's a sophomore. They know that Chambliss gives them a better chance to win. So they very selfishly are saying, oh, well, we support Chambliss and is a bit no. You either believe in the rules or you don't. You either believe in what's fair, and it's not fair to give Chambliss a 6th year of eligibility when there's no medical reason for him to actually get it.
Well, you just said it. You just answered the question, hit the nail on the head. We talked about this last week, a couple of weeks ago. Fans selfishly do not care about the rules anymore. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's only about what benefits us, and it doesn't even pertain to doing things the right way anymore. People who cover the sport and are invested in the sport, Diesel, I think they want the rules to be followed, but fans are, it's almost like we've entered this microwave culture where college students, especially those who are at the university they're pulling for, they don't care about what happened the years prior to them. They don't care about what's going to happen in the years after them. They're there for 4 years and they want to win at all costs. I don't care. And I'm just saying how they don't care what happened. They don't care about the rules. They don't care about what it does to the future. I think it depends what bucket you're in. If you're in the bucket like you and I are, where we want the sport to actually have structured 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, then that's where we are. But I don't think a lot of these fans and students, you got to remember, college athletes make up so much of college football fandom. They don't care about the future. It's a very selfish me right now mindset where that's all we're seeing is what's in front of us and how we can win at the highest level.
We've also entered a whole new era of desperation. We need this to happen, and we need to have it happen now, because you don't have programs anymore. You have 1-year teams, and we got to make sure we've got 6 months to get our affairs in order, because we got to get ready to go play. in 6 months. We're not thinking about what's 2 years down the line or 3 years down the line. Coaches are starting to feel that way. Coming up, Cole, in the 5 o'clock hour, I've got a couple of amazing new pieces of audio. One is the Houston basketball coach. One is the UTSA football coach and the Memphis football coach, all being real desperate and real thirsty for cash. This audio is phenomenal. I'm going to play that for you. Coming up at 4:20 in the next segment, we'll have John Whittle of the Big Spur. But we not that this is new news to anybody, right? But our microwave culture, as you called it a minute ago, it's accelerating. And we've all got to find ways to step off that gas pedal just a little bit and realize that this is the long game. And if we want college football to stay healthy for another 15 years, 25 years, 50 years, hopefully we all have 50 more years to enjoy and watch college football. If we want it to be healthy 50 years from now, we got to do things right now that keep it healthy instead of just letting the players get whatever they want, letting the fans get whatever they want, and damn the consequences.
That's what I'm trying to do with my body. You're right. You're exactly right. When you said that, I'm thinking, that's why I'm not saying yes to the Chick-fil-A sandwich and fries and Chick-fil-A sauce and Diet Coke. And
how'd you know what I had for lunch yesterday?
I'm just saying, you have to care about the long term. Your personal health, whatever it is, college football, you can't only worry about now. And you're right. That is where we are as a society, as a culture. It's a tough place to be because guess what, Diesel? The coaches, the head coaches, the current head coaches, do they care about the longevity of the sport? Or do they care about making that dollar, making the paycheck, and keeping their job? Like, I'm not saying Dabo and Shane Beamer don't care about the future and longevity of the sport because I think they do. But I also think there are several head coaches out there that don't. They only care about their success at this very moment in the sport. And I think that's obvious by how some of the, a lot of these coaches Pete Golding act,
Yeah, and I would say this, Cole, I think we're also, as a society, getting worse at being told no. Like, being told no is never fun, right? Hey, will you go on a date with me? No. Hey, can I have this new job? No. Hey, can I get this extra year of eligibility? No. We used to, be able to be creative and figure out what to do after being told no. Now it's just like, oh, well, I'm just going to sue you. I'm just going to take you to court. And I'm going to take you to court again. And then I'm going to take you to court again until I get told yes, or you give up the fight because you think it's not worth it anymore.
No doubt. You're exactly right. That is the sad reality. Tolo's a big show coming your way. I know it's already hour number 2, but there's still so much more to come. We're going to get into South Carolina with John Whittle with the Big Spur coming up in about 5-6 minutes. Diesel, they're currently finishing their media availability with Paul Maneri, so we are going to stretch out just a little bit for him during the commercial break. We've got our daily wires coming up. You mentioned the audio coming up at 5:20. But how about the Tolo takeover? We need a big one today, and we already got a text last night from one of our Tolos about what they're upset about pertaining to the NASCAR race, I believe it was last night. So, Tolos, if you're new to the show, we want to invite you to call in, take over these airwaves. The Tolo takeover coming up at 5 o'clock. Tolo stands for Turn On, Leave On. That's what we ask you to do on these airwaves each and every day. And it's your opportunity at 5 to call in, talk sports, vent, complain. If you've got something you're excited about, you're happy, whatever it is, sports related or not, the Tolo takeover is your opportunity to take over these airwaves. And real quick, Diesel, before we get into John Whittle, Jack Beltry of Gamecock Central did tweet out the opening rotation for the Gamecocks as they play Northern Kentucky here very, very soon. Riley Goodman has been announced as the opening day starter. Diesel, and obviously they had a pretty bad injury last week. We talked about that, right? So Riley Goodman will be the Friday starter for South Carolina. Amp Phillips will be their Saturday starter. Amp is the transfer in from USC Upstate right here in Spartanburg. And Brandon Stone, a returner from last year, will be the Sunday guy. So it's going to be Riley Goodman on Friday, Amp Phillips on Saturday, and Brandon Stone on Sunday. Those are your 3 starters for the Gamecocks. Let's dive into it. John Whittle of the Big Spur next, right here on the Pinup State.
Court stakes at the door. Call in if you're man enough.
844 fan phone. This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Well, when it happens, we bring it to you right here on the Fan Upstate. What am I talking about? John Whittle of the Big Spur just got done hearing from Paul Maneri, the head baseball coach at South Carolina, who spoke to the media minutes ago, and we talked to John Whittle every single week at this time. John, always appreciate you coming on with us. What was your reaction, and what do you think the reaction from Gamecock fans will be when they heard the news that Riley Goodman will be the South Carolina opening day starter, followed by Amp Phillips and Brandon Stone? Obviously, you lose Jake McCoy, nothing you can do about that. But how do you think this rotation now shakes up?
Well, I mean, I think it's about as good as you can do right now. Alex Philpott will be out for probably the first month of the season as well. So that changes things a little bit. Paul Maneri started his fall practice or preseason practice press conference saying that he had 6 guys vying for the starting rotation opening weekend, and 2 of those guys got hurt. 2 of those guys ended up in there. 2 of those guys ended up out of it. The new one, Brandon Stone, who was scheduled to be a reliever this year, he's gonna roll on Sundays. But we know what Brandon Stone is about, having watched him so much last season and pitching in different roles. So I think it's about as good as it could be. Josh Dunkler pitched probably the best out of anybody in my estimation. So far this preseason, but he was a force for Wake Forest coming out of the bullpen. So I certainly understand why they want to go in that direction with him.
John, both pitching and offensive firepower production were inconsistent for South Carolina last year. There were games where they could score 8-9 runs, but they just couldn't find ways to hold the other team to less than that. And there were some games where they gave up a lot of runs to, arguably some very, very good rosters and batting lineups in the SEC. As of right now, what do you see as being the strength of this team this year? Like, how are they going to win ball games? Are they going to have to outscore teams, or are they going to have their pitchers step up?
Well, what you described is how you end up 6-24 in the conference, and then pick to finish 15th in the league going into this season. So you're spot on. As far as with the identity and the strength of this team, it was supposed to be the depth of the pitching staff, and that's being tested a little bit right now with losing Jake McCoy for the year, and Alex Philpott, who was certainly going to be in that weekend rotation, losing him for probably the first month of the season. That being said, I still think the strength of the team is on the pitching staff, and I do think there's still some depth there for those guys. But it's going to be tested some. When you look at the offensive profile, I think there's going to be more power from top to bottom, maybe a little bit more length. At the same time, you don't have the same kind of guys in there that you can count on or feel like you can count on every day to be elite, like an Ethan Petrie or Nathan Hall, who they get your attention when you're a pitcher on the mound for the other teams. Like, I don't know who from this group of Gamecocks really threatens in that way. So it's going to have to be a lineup that is pretty good from top to bottom, because you don't have necessarily those big RBI guys and that punch in the middle necessarily. So it's sizing up to be an interesting team right now, but at the same time, I look kind of at the pitching staff. If South Carolina is going to be really good this year, we're going to be talking about the turnaround from last year to this year from a pitching perspective.
John Whittle of the Big Spur joining us as he does every Thursday right here on the Fan Upstate, Spartanburg, Greenville, and Anderson, and anywhere on the free Odyssey and iHeartRadio app. John, are you a little surprised? Do you think fans will be surprised to see Brandon Stone announced early as that Sunday guy? I know things can change, but you're talking about a guy last year, 4 to 6 range, ERA, 7 starts. I think he appeared roughly 15 to 20 games. And, look, had some good stints. Ole Miss weekend was good. He came in against Clemson for a few innings early in the season. So Gamecock fans, as you said, are familiar with Brandon Stone. But if you hear Paul Maneri say you feel like they have a little bit more depth this year, are you surprised that they're still going with Stone in that Sunday spot?
Yes and no. I mean, we got to remember back with Brandon last year, he was a very highly recruited junior college kid coming in, and expectations were certainly high for him, but he was a one-year JUCO, so he came into South Carolina as a sophomore and kind of got thrust into, he was ping-pong back and forth all throughout the season, whether it was late game, middle game, starting rotation, and all year long. Like, he never really settled into a spot. As you mentioned, he had some good games, and he had some games where, that really significantly inflated that ERA. So, but, what happens from one year to another is those guys typically improve some, and Brandon looks to me to be in much better shape this year. He's trimmed down a little bit. He's stronger. He looks good. He looks different. He's had great success so far against the South Carolina hitters in scrimmages. I understand why there would be a little bit of a question mark there, and there's some is for me because Paul Maneri said we want Brandon Stone to be a middle reliever. Well, if you want him to be a middle reliever, and you're becoming a weekend starter. That tells you something that's either gone really right for him or wrong in some other places. And I think the hope is that things have gone right for him because he looks different. He is different. He's more experienced, and they think he's ready to handle that spot.
Talking to John Whittle of the Big Spur. John, we played a piece of Shane Beamer's press conference yesterday. We didn't get to listen to all of it. We didn't get to listen to the Q&A section of things, but Shane did say that he's looking forward finally to have a chance to just stay in one spot for a little while, to not be on the road all the time, to not be doing all this recruiting. I just wonder, in the Q&A, did he give any indication of how he's going to sit back and watch his former stars like Nick Eamon-Wari, Ernest Jones, and Marcellus Dial play in the Super Bowl? Because that's got to be huge, and you got to be, sort of beaming ear to ear watching your guys play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I guess y'all played the part where he was thanking the local restaurants and everybody else for helping in the recruiting process. So I'm sure they appreciated that around here. But yeah, it's obviously a big deal for South Carolina to have a couple of guys playing, and Ernest Jones and Nicky Manwari and Marcellus Dowd out here with an injury, but he'll be on the sidelines and he'll be ready to get a ring if the Patriots win. I'm a Jets fan, so I'm not really hoping that happens. But to Shane's point, as he mentioned the other day, like Nick being right up there for defensive rookie of the year and having the success that he's had, and being a local guy, like there's so much you can sell with Nick. Coming in and his development under Torian Gray and Clayton White. Like if I'm South Carolina, I'm trumpeting that fact over and over again, and certainly Ernest Jones too. Like Ernest has had a nice career in the NFL, and Super Bowls keep falling in his. Well, he keeps bringing Super Bowls. I'm not going to say Super Bowls keep falling in his lap. He keeps bringing Super Bowls to wherever he goes. So he's had a great career, and certainly got to celebrate him too. But for this coaching staff, I think he's got to really put out Nick Eamon-Wari and sell that as a big part of your program, considering how they identified him and coached him up and helped him get to where he is right now.
John, to play off of that a little bit with the restaurants, if John Whittle was in charge of bringing a big-time recruit to Columbia, what would the top 3 restaurant visits be?
I think we probably just go down to Groucho's and have ourselves a nice SCP and just call it a day. That should be all you need right there, I think, right?
Yeah, I like Groucho's. I think Groucho's has a playing off my name, Cole's Dipper. Have you had the Cole's Dipper?
No, I haven't had that one yet. Maybe I'll try that one next time.
What about local though? Go local, no chain.
Well, Groucho started here, so
I
consider that one local.
I'm sorry.
I will. Yeah, I will say, and I don't know if this one's considered local or not. They've got a few around the state, but certainly a Hall's Chop House or a what's the name of that Cantina restaurant? Cantina 76 down there over on Divine Street. That's a great place to go as well. I'm not really a high dollar restaurant guy. I keep it in that mid-range price, but Backstreet's in there too, and I think
Well, since we're talking food, this is oddly, we talked Super Bowl yesterday. We talked a lot of different things yesterday, and the topic that got the most immediate response was Super Bowl food, like what's going to be on your plate at the Super Bowl. Cole gave the Tolos 4 items yesterday to put on their Super Bowl plates. I'm going to make it harder on you, John. I'm going to give you 1. You get 1 thing to put on your plate. You don't get to have burgers and ribs and wings and pizza and whatever else you may be that you like. So 1 item that you're going to sit down and eat only that during the Super Bowl, what would it be?
But you could give me a dozen items and I'd just pick 1. So, we're good on that anyway. It's just chicken wings for me. Just throw the chicken wings out there. Now, I love grilled chicken wings. Those are probably my favorite. But a good smoked chicken wing, I'm fine with the fried ones too. There are a lot of different ways you can do them, but the chicken wing would certainly be the one.
Hey, John, I know it's not your primary coverage, but real quick, softball getting started, and my goodness, what a year they had last year. What's the general buzz around the program with Ashley Chastain Woodard just doing a phenomenal job, and how this program looks to, I don't know how you do it, but duplicate what they did a season ago?
Yeah, that program's on fire right now, and I've been over there to see them a little bit. Now, I won't be able to get over there tonight, unfortunately, but I've been over there to see them a little bit. They are, they're just on fire right now. The energy is just so good. There's such positivity around there in that program. It starts at the top. Ashley is phenomenal. They bring back a handful of key players from last year. Ariana Rhodey at first base, Carly Shelton at second base, Lexi Winters behind the plate, Kinsey Lilio, she's playing left field because they brought in a center fielder named Tori Ensley from center, from NC State, who's going to be in center this year. That girl's a phenomenal ball player. I look forward to seeing her play a lot. But they're going to be different on the mound. They've got Jory Hurd back. Sam Grass graduated. She threw the most innings last year. Was an all-SEC player. She was the only all-SEC player in the Gamecocks last year. Can you believe that? Team that was 1 out away from Omaha and did so well in the league, and only all-SEC players. So, but they've got a ton of momentum over there right now. I think that's going to be a really fun program to follow this season.
John, with Josiah Thompson, coming back to South Carolina, there was a clip in that Shane Beamer press conference yesterday where he said, look, I told Josiah that I had to replace him, and he did. He picked up 3 additional offensive tackles out of the portal, one guy from NC State, one from Northern Arizona, one from New Mexico State. In your mind, how do those reps now divvy up for a guy that left and was replaced, but then ultimately decided to come back? Will Josiah Thompson, in your mind, still get the most reps out of that bunch, or does he kind of get moved down the depth chart in any way?
Well, the good news and the bad news for Josiah Thompson is there's a new coach over there right now, so everybody's kind of starting with a clean slate. Randy Clements, Kendall Brown, those guys are new, so they're going to be balancing reps pretty evenly among everyone. Like usually, if you're a returning starter, whether you go into the transfer portal or not, you're probably feeling pretty good going into the off season. But when you got a new coach, everything kind of changes, and so everything changed for him regardless. And it might be good for him that he gets a fresh start. So, I think that he will still be looked on as a valued player. They would not have allowed him back. Shane Beamer historically has not allowed players who enter the transfer portal to return to the program. He's done it a time or two. I don't want to forget anybody, but I think Gilbert Edmond is the only other person. There may be another one out there that's slipping my mind off the top of my head, but for him to let Josiah come back, that tells you something about his standing in the program. He's somebody who's going to be valued and given fair treatment over there. And there are things there to like about Josiah, but he's got to be coached up, and he's got to be a lot better to win a starting spot, whether it's a left tackle or if it's a right tackle or wherever else. So, I still holding out a little hope for Josiah, but he's got a lot of improving to do. He was the second lowest graded offensive lineman on the team last year out of a batch of bad Gamecock offensive linemen. So there's a lot of room for improvement, and I guess that work started a couple of weeks ago, and they'll get out on the practice field full go for the first time the first week of March.
John, as always, we appreciate you, but I do have one more Grouchos-related question. I don't know if it carries down to Columbia, the one that I go to in Spartanburg. You answer this one because I've got to know, is there a better sweet tea in America than Grouchos?
Oh, you're gonna make me sound like a fool to all your listeners. You may not have me on every Thursday at 4:22 from here on out, but I don't need to drink sweet tea. I don't like sweet tea. So,
well, it's good talking to you, John. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I guess I could just say, it's the best sweet tea I've never had.
That is crazy. I did not know that. Now I've learned something new about John Whittle. Always appreciate you, man. We'll talk to you next week.
I know there's like a half a dozen of us here in the South. We're part of an elite club. Or whatever the opposite of elite is, one of the two.
No doubt about it. John Whittle, the Big Spur. You make sure you give him a follow on Twitter, on X at John M. Whittle. I almost spit my water out when I heard that. I mean, doesn't like sweet tea. I did not know, though, all seriousness, Groucho's started in Columbia, Diesel. Are you a Groucho's guy?
Well, there's a Groucho's in downtown Greenville, and that's the only one right here locally that I know about. I've been there a couple times. It's really good.
Yeah, those one in downtown Spartanburg. I don't know why. I don't go there enough. The bread, that's why. The bread, I'm trying to stay away from the bread. Cut the breads out, but no, he's right. That is elite.
There's a lot of Tolos, though, Cole, that would put up Bojangles sweet tea against. I know it's a chain.
Yeah, it's good.
But against Groucho's,
I always thought, and again, I ate I used to eat Groucho's a lot more than I do now. But I always thought that Groucho's had the best sweet tea. And Bojangles is good, but I will tell you, I've always liked McDonald's sweet tea better than Bojangles sweet tea.
Well, I'm not quite in the category of John. I don't know if he drinks unsweet tea or if he just avoids tea altogether. But I am in the crew that I got to cut it, man. Like, I want sweet tea, but I don't want it as sweet as these restaurants are doing. It is too sweet.
Well, I love it sweet. I haven't had it in 2026, so I've done well there. I don't know how long that'll last. We'll see, right? But I'm trying to stay away from the sugar, if you will.
Can we all admit that bottled tea, no matter what brand it is, sucks?
Not as good.
It's not as good. It sucks.
Yeah. Just trying to be nice.
Sucks. All of them. Do better, would you?
That's right.
When we come back, Cole, let's see what else is happening out there in a shortened, condensed Daily Wires.
Stay.
Text or call. One number does it all. 844-326-3663. That's 844-FAN-PHONE. This is Wire to Wire with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
Well, a lot to get to, Cole. Let's get right to them. Our daily wires, the buzz happening around the sports world. Clemson edged Stanford last night, though not many of our Tolos were probably awake to see it. A final score, 66-64. Tigers are now 19-4 on the season. It got tight late, Cole. There was a real chance they could have lost that game.
Yes, 3.5-point spread. The layup right there at the end. The cover, I don't know. You tell me. But no, it was a close one.
Furman fell on the road yesterday at ETSU, 75-71. Cooper Bowser, who's been a stud for the Paladins all season, put up 18 points and 8 rebounds in the losing effort. Number 6, Gonzaga was stunned last night by the Portland, what's their mascot, Cole?
Trailblazers.
No, the Pilots. So close. 87-80. I would have had no idea. The Portland Pilots.
How did it do?
Portland improves too. 11-14 overall, 4-8 in the West Coast Conference. This is the first time Gonzaga has lost to a team with a losing record since January 22nd, 2011, snapping a streak of 141 straight wins against teams below 500. Hey, if you like Clemson style of basketball, maybe tune in and watch App State. They've won 5 in a row now, holding their opponents to an average of 53 points per game during that stretch. Real good defense up there that Dustin Kearns has put together. They beat South Alabama last night. The SEC announced that it is distributing more than $1 billion to its 16 members for the 2024-25 fiscal year, up more than $200 million from last year. The per school payout will average $72.5 million, up from $54 million last year.
It's a lot.
That is a lot of money. BYU men's basketball coach Kevin Young expressed disappointment over the anti-Mormon chants that could be heard coming from the Oklahoma State student section during an upset loss against the Cowboys. This isn't the first time chants like that have come from Big 12 student sections. A brand new filing in the eligibility of the Charles Bediako case. This is wild, Cole. Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, has come out publicly in favor of the NCAA, not Alabama. He is asking the court to not allow Bediako to play.
Yeah, when y'all wake up tomorrow to the news that you can't find Greg Sankey, he's been kidnapped. Don't look in Tuscaloosa. I mean, come on.
The NCAA, we talked about this earlier, has denied Ole Miss's appeal for Trinidad Chambliss' 6th-year waiver. His attorneys have filed an injunction in state court in Mississippi. That hearing going to be in a week's time. Georgia defensive tackle London Seymour was charged with 11 felony accounts of criminal damage of property following his arrest on January 29th, an incident in which Seymour and 3 other young men participated in a viral TikTok door kick challenge. I guess you're just supposed to film yourself kicking doors in, Cole.
What school did you say?
That was it at Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, par for the course.
Just curious.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Washington quarterback Devon Williams Jr. spoke publicly yesterday, stating that his decision to leave Washington was a result of really bad advice. He did not reveal who gave him that bad advice. 14-year Montana Grizzlies head football coach Bobby Hauck has announced his retirement, saying football is simply, quote, not enjoyable. He won 8 Big Sky Conference titles and 20 FCS playoff victories. He added, quote, dealing with agents and the transient nature of this and the lack of forward thinking by young people, I kind of got tired of all that. He's 61 years old.
Hate to hear that.
Yeah. More NBA trade buzz. Luke Kennard from the Hawks is headed to L.A. Lonzo Ball is headed to Utah in a 3-team trade with the Cavs and Hawks, but he is expected to be waived and become a free agent. Giannis still in Milwaukee.
How about that?
The Waste Management Phoenix Open is underway, Cole, and Scottie Scheffler struggling on his first day of this tournament. He was +2 on the back nine. He started on the back nine, so he was +2 there, trying to get an updated, accurate leaderboard, see if he's done any better on the front nine. But things were not going well for old Scottie Scheffler in this Waste Management Open.
He is human after all, I guess, right?
Yeah. He let's see. This is real bad, Cole. He finished with a 73. Again, started on the back nine, had 3 bogeys on the back, a bogey on the first, a double bogey on the second,
Wow.
and he birdied the third, bogeyed the 8th.
Not good. Tolos,
No.
it's time for you to take over. Phone lines are open, 844-326-3663. The Tolo takeover next, right here on the Pin Up Stage.
Diesel and Cole Bryson
on the Fan Upstate.
It is time, Diesel, for the Tolos to take over these very airwaves on a Thursday, a Tolo Thursday edition. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. So good to be with you. It's hour number 3 of the show. What is a Tolo, and what is the Tolo takeover? For somebody new that might be listening in Spartanburg, Greenville, Anderson, the new signal we have in the big city of Anderson, Diesel. Tolo stands for turn on, leave on. That's what we ask you to do every day on the show. If you do that, listen, you're a Tolo, right? We love hearing from the Tolos, and it's your opportunity. Diesel and I shut up. We quit talking. We talk all the show. It's your opportunity to take over these airwaves, sports-related, not sports-related, Super Bowl, food, whatever it can be, whatever you want it to be, as long as it doesn't violate FCC guidelines. You're good. So the Tolo takeover begins, and Diesel, I don't know if you have anything that you have to get off your chest, but we'll start with the phone lines if that's okay. Is that good?
Let's do it. Let's start with Dan B., who I already know what Dan's going to complain about. Let's see much heat, fire, and vitriol Dan has got over this.
Yeah, no, so yesterday was the NASCAR opener for the season, the Clash at Bowman Gray. Exhibition race, no points. But the first half of the race, well, let's start off, it got postponed from, I don't remember if it was Saturday or Sunday, but because of snow, it's up there in Winston-Salem. And then they postponed it till Monday, and then it got pushed again to Wednesday. And so the first half of the race, which started around 6 o'clock, prime time on Fox, went pretty good. It was dominated by Larson until he started to fall off. They were going to do 100 laps per set of tires. Cautions didn't count for laps. That comes into play here. And then right at the 100 lap mark, the 102, they called them in, and sure enough, it started what looked like raining, but it was actually sleet. And so they knew it wasn't going to last too long, but they went ahead, they put on the wet weather tires, and sent them back out there, and then they pulled them back in. And so then they had the dryers out there, and, you know, they got it as good as they could. And they finally got to racing, but when they did that, you couldn't go more than a lap or two without another caution. And it just kept going and kept going and kept going. They had in the total 17 cautions, which broke a record. And they at one point they were at 166 laps completed with 130 some laps of caution. And so what allowed to happen was not everybody filled up their tanks, because the whole race is only 50 miles. So they didn't have to have full tanks of gas. So those that didn't, like Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott and some others, they started running out of gas. And which is it wasn't a huge big deal. It caused another caution. They had to get pushed off the track, refueled, get back on, okay, whatever. But then all of a sudden NASCAR pulls them in and says, no, we're just going to let everybody refuel up. Which some teams they had already fueled up all the way. They were going to make it. So there's one of the major screw-ups. Sending them out to sleep was probably not a good idea. They should have waited longer.
Dan, I feel like they should have just canceled the event on Sunday when they saw the weather.
Yeah, that you can't argue against that, other than it is a big event for Bowman Gray, and that market up there, it helps boost the economy and all that kind of fun stuff.
Oh, I got a good idea. Let's put a dome on it. You put a roof on it, a closable roof.
Dome Diesel.
Jordan Bianchi and Jeff Buck talked about that the idea of doing it in an indoor stadium that has roof, that you could do. You could potentially have a race inside. I think that would be very loud, and I'm pretty sure carbon monoxide is bad for people.
Put a fan out there; it'll be fine.
They do monster trucks in the dome, so I guess what's what. But no, another thing they did wrong was they allowed a driver, because it was a mass amount of confusion, they allowed a driver to put slicks back on. I think it was Hocevar. And so he put slicks back on, but then when they called him back in for the refuel, they forced him to put the other tires back on. They were like, oh, no. So they didn't penalize them because somebody told them they could do it, but I guess they weren't supposed to do it. Anyway, and then at 9 o'clock, like right before 9 o'clock, broadcasters are like, oh, by the way, at 9, the Masked Singer is more important than us, so we're going to swap over to Fox Sports 2. Not even Fox Sports 1. Had to go to Fox Sports 2.
If that doesn't tell you something about the state of NASCAR and its fandom, Dan, I don't know what does.
Well, I don't disagree. I mean, they preempted a football club somewhere nobody cares about match because they weren't going to go over the college basketball that was on Fox Sports 1. I think I saw a BYU game or Baylor game. It was on. I don't know. But anyway, it was just this huge cluster. I get they can't control the weather, so you had to postpone it, and that's fine. But, and they got prime time slot. They were given 3 hours. It started 23 minutes late. The whole race, all the cautions went 3 hours and 20-some minutes. So, I mean, it was like you were doomed to fail no matter what because of the Masked Singer. It's just frustrating. It's like, okay, this is what our 2026 season is starting off with.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Dan, thanks for the call as always, man.
Appreciate it, Dan.
844-326-6663. Let's go to Rick in Greer. I cannot wait to hear what Rick has to say. What's up, Rick?
Okay, I'm mad as hell, and I don't have to take this, okay? I go in a restaurant yesterday with my girlfriend.
Which one?
I sit down at Chop House.
Oh, I meant which girlfriend?
I don't think you've met her. You've met 3 of them, but I don't think you've met this one.
Sorry.
But, so we go in and we sit down at the bar. You ever been to Chop House?
No, I'm not rich like you
I have. Somebody else is paying for it.
I was going to pay for it. And we sat down, we started to eat. And this big fat guy comes down and sits beside me. I got nothing against fat people, okay? But I know he's got the sniffles. I can hear him. He's either too fat or he's snorting cocaine, okay? But he starts blowing his damn nose. Oh, I can't say it. Darn nose. He starts blowing his nose about 50 times. Well, I took it for a while. I told the bartender, I said, do we swap places? Sure. There wasn't any places at the bar. My girlfriend said, just let it go, just let it go. So he does it again, and besides blowing his horn, he gives me the
loogie
in the mouth.
Ew.
I just got so mad. I leaned over and I said, buddy, you gonna honk your horn like a duck, go in the bathroom, okay? He said, F you, as in Furman University. I said, buddy, I'm trying to be nice. I said, please, go in the bathroom. He said, I pay my money just like you do. I said, look, I'm taking into consideration you fat and ugly, okay? I said, but you keep doing it, then you're going to get it on. He kept doing it. So finally, I took my elbow and kind of nudged the fat a little bit, and he got mad. He said, let's go outside.
And?
I didn't.
Does the story continue?
I was afraid of,
You didn't go outside.
I didn't go outside, and when he walked back in, I said, at least I got about 2 minutes. You're not blowing your damn nose. I said, that's filthy. I said, you ruined my meal. I said, I should charge it.
Yeah, you should.
How
Rick,
y'all feel?
that's a
How
great.
y'all feel
Well, that's a great story, but a terrible ending. I mean, a great story, but a bad ending. I was hoping it ended in a
What
fight.
do you want me to do?
Fight him.
What do you want me to do? Whoop his butt?
Yes.
Well, I got thrown in the. I mean, is it worth getting thrown in jail for snorting and spitting? And I mean, he farted too. I didn't mention that, but he was letting a few farts too.
That's gross.
And it's gross. And my girlfriend said, "Let's just go somewhere else."
Well,
that's
Rick,
what happens when you go to those type of establishments.
What do you want me to do? You want me to pay for that $90 steak that I'm eating and she's eating? It was $90 a piece.
That's when you say, Dewey, could you go to the other end of the bar? and leave us alone in
I
peace.
started to call him Dewey, okay? So
That's
there ain't
great.
many people I hate worse than Dewey. But
Great
I
call.
didn't say that.
Great story.
We got to let you go.
Appreciate it.
And let's go straight to Dewey. Dewey, why were you blowing your nose and honking and coughing and snorting at the bar next to Rick last night?
That's what I did. I got it all over him, too. And I hope he gets disease.
Dear
Anyway.
God. I literally had water in my mouth when he did that, and I was so close to just spewing it everywhere.
Can't take you
Anyway,
anywhere, Dewey.
No. Anyway, that's for Rick messing with me. Messing with me again. And I'll find you again. Now, anyway, got me worked up. I'm already worked up. I got to talk about this chat GPT crap going on social media. Y'all bunch of y'all can't even think for yourself.
Words?
Every other post, I'm looking at my mistress's Facebook page, and every other post, I gotta see some little cartoon animation of you looking like what you do in your job, and it's over-exaggerated bull crap. Well, it's just not. I thought maybe it was just like the news people doing it. No, it's just average people too, like mad crap. Cole, Diesel. Cole probably has one of him with no shirt on, drinking a beer and a cigar. But anyways, it's monkey see, monkey do. It's just like that I called the Icebox challenge a few years ago. All of a sudden, everyone thought it was cool to put ice on your head. But, hey, look at me. Guess what? You're not cool. And your little chat GPT pictures are not cool either. They suck. And that trend's going to die just like 6'7" did. But please, people, let's start thinking for yourself. Quit getting your weather from TikTok. Quit getting your life advice from ChatGPT. And let's start reading the Bible or something. Oh.
Is the trend dead? If you just brought it up again, Dewey, it's still alive and well.
No, I think Dewey ended it officially just now.
Thank you,
So,
Dewey. All right,
just
let's
so
move
you
on.
know, that is.
Let me just hurry up and
epic
hang up
call.
on him so that he can't say any more
Let's
words.
go to Summerville, South Carolina. Tom in Summerville. What's up, Tom? Hate that you have to follow that.
Yeah, guys, I guess dry January is officially over for Dewey. I, for one, I enjoy ChatGPT because you do learn a lot if the information is accurate. But guys, I was thinking next time we want to do a Tolo activity for everybody, I have started watching the Olympics and I've started watching the curling. Okay, and I have found that the Palmetto Club in Greenville have curling. Okay. So the next time y'all want to do some sort of Tolo activity, we need to get together, have 2 or 3 teams or 4 teams, and we need to have a curling competition. Let Rick and Dewey battle it out on the ice. They have curling. It's like $25 for a team or something like that. But the more I watch this curling on the Olympics, the more entertaining I think it would be to get Dewey, to get Rick, get myself on a slick sheet of ice with a broomstick and a 40-pound stone and see how close we can get to the target.
Tom, I think that's the worst Olympic sport of all of them, the most boring.
Yeah, I think it is comical to watch. Because the way I watch it is like this. I just think if you're your typical, everyday blue-collar Southerner who doesn't get to experience ice very much, and he steps on the ice with that broomstick, just slipping and sliding all over the place. I think that a competition like that with Dewey and Rick and myself and you and Diesel would be so much fun. Get Mad Dash out there, let him talk about his canes while he's waiting to throw that stone down the ice. I just think it would be hilarious.
I don't think Mad Dash listens to us anymore, Tom. I think he's long gone.
I did make a phone call the other day when I said I was going to make a phone call and find out where he was?
Yeah.
Only problem is the answer I got was, how did you get this number? Don't call again. So, it's a mystery. It's a mystery where he went, where he is. But I guess come August we'll hear from him again.
No doubt. No doubt. Tom, appreciate you as
Good
always.
stuff, Tom.
Go Gamecocks.
All right, let's go next to Jay Tez, who wants to get in on the Tolo takeover. What's up, Jay Tez?
Not a lot, guys. First, before I talk about Trinidad Chambliss, but first time I started listening to you guys, and I heard Dewey come on, I was thinking, what the heck is this? And you know what? He grew on me. And actually, I think he's probably one of the funniest parts of the show.
Well, I appreciate that because, some people, Jay Tez, text in like this guy from the 985 and said, please don't let me do it anymore. He's not funny. He's too corny. Look, you know what? Dewey, what are we supposed to do? Block his number? I'm with you.
Exactly. Well, listen, on the Trinidad Chambliss, I think you guys are the way you announced it, I think y'all were thinking at it all wrong.
Okay.
Before NIL, somebody like Trinidad Chambliss has a year like he had. What do you think he's going to do even if he has a year of look for manual eligibility?
Before
he's
NIL
going to go to the draft.
Yeah.
Before NIL in the portal. You think he'd just say, I think I'm going to take my chances in the draft?
It depends. Well, there's so much that goes into that. One good year in college, what's his draft stock look like,
Well, okay. Well, take that as is. But let's just put it like he was going to decide to go to the NFL. Okay, in the NFL, the rookie contract is what, $800,000 a year, maybe?
It's not a lot.
Oh yeah. Okay, he'd be taking a pay cut for what Ole Miss was going to pay him. So he shot his shot, and he didn't go his way. So I bet he announces for the draft.
So, yeah, and look, I know that some people have already talked about this, that his draft grade is not particularly great, or more in the phrasing of incomplete, because he's only got one season playing against Division I SEC level talent. Yeah, you're right. You're right. He's taking a pay cut, but at what point do you say enough is enough, man?
Oh, I agree. I'm glad he didn't get glad it didn't go his way. But what I'm saying is I think that his idea was, I'm going to shoot my shot, see what happens. I'll get paid $2+ million a year from Ole Miss, and then I'll go to the draft.
But could you not look at it and say what happened last year with Shedeur Sanders and his attitude costing him 4 rounds of draft positioning? Couldn't you say that if you're an NFL talent scout or a GM, couldn't you look at Trinidad Chambliss and say, well, that guy kept trying to screw the system. I don't want him. What's he going to do to us?
Yeah, but he wasn't a cancer in the locker room like Shedeur was he?
Yeah, I don't think it's just him. I don't think it's just Trinidad that want the money. I think this is what you're going to continue to see in this new era of college football. Players who know that their NFL success rate might not be the highest, so they're going to try to milk that thing in college for the most lucrative deal they can for as long as they can, because they know. I think that's just where we are now. That is almost a new norm.
Absolutely. But I got one more thing. Dewey, I wish that I had enough time on my hands where I could just bitch about people who are using ChatGPT. Now, I can't take it with you going to get fired from your job for using ChatGPT and making a caricature of yourself. That's just fine, because I'd like to see what you look like. But you know what, Dewey? You're fired.
Oh, my God. What a great way. I don't know if that was the call of the day or the call of the year. That's incredible. What a great way to end. No more callers. No more.
Can we get those two on together at the same time?
Good. That was really, really good. I love that. Might be the best call I think we've had this year.
I just had an idea, Cole. What if we need to find out what Dewey's birthday is, and then we need to have a Dewey off. We need to have a Dewey impersonation challenge where Tolos call in and give us their best Dewey.
Their best. Yeah. That'd be good. That was funny as crap. That was a normal call. Jay Tess said, you know what? I'm going to spin it, end it on a high note. That was really, what a way to end the Tolo takeover.
Oh, my goodness.
That was pretty good.
I don't know if we can top that for a while.
No, I love it.
That's
Great
yeah.
stuff, Tolos.
Good stuff. Tolos, when we come back, coaches out there being thirsty, I got audio of Jeff Traylor from UTSA, Charles Huff from Memphis, and Kelvin Sampson, the head men's basketball coach at Houston. They're all out there trying to get that money. We'll play it next.
fan phone.
This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Cole, things are getting wild out there in the American Athletic Conference of all places. You know, schools are constantly trying to find new ways to generate revenue. And there was that rumor earlier this week that Mr. Beast, you know, the gigantic YouTube celebrity with millions and millions of followers that generates a ton of money and is worth a ton of money, who lives in Greenville, North Carolina, was potentially interested in helping East Carolina win a national championship. And I know that I kind of joked about this a long time ago, compared it to the movie Rat Race, where you'd have really rich people seeing if they could win a national championship at a place that otherwise has no chance to do it. Well, other coaches from around the country, Cole, are getting in on this trend of just basically begging for money publicly in the media. Now, this is audio. First clip we're going to hear is Jeff Traylor, the head football coach of the UTSA. What?
Roadrunners, baby.
Roadrunners.
Let's go.
He is, I'm fairly certain he's just mocking in this particular clip here, Cole. But, you know, I've really enjoyed listening to a lot of what he's had to say about the sport. He talked about the transfer portal and the window and about how he was going to have guys essentially having to play both ways just to be able to go play in a bowl game. So he is right about a lot of what he has to say, especially from the perspective of a mid-major or G5 program. Here he is begging for some money and to get somebody to help him win a national championship.
And we got to find a way to fundraise. So if you come up with some idea, I have an idea. It sounds like East Carolina's going to copy it. I will give total access to this building at all times, 24/7, 365. We'll have a live reality TV show. If somebody will just go buy a national championship, we're just going to bet. We're going to bet on the Roadrunners. We're going to bet on Triangle Toughness. We're going to put down $50 million, and we're going to go buy us a national championship and have total access, live reality TV. Make your money back. I'm here for it. Somebody wants to donate. Hey.
Would you tune in and watch that reality show?
I would. San Antonio, this is UTSA, right?
Correct.
It could get interesting. San Antonio would that would be what a spot to do it, right? In Texas. Two things can be true at one time. Indiana buying a national championship, if you want to put it that way, could be true. But what also could be true, that Diesel, is that even if you do try to buy a championship and have the best talent in the country, you still have to coach that talent and get that talent to gel and perform as a team, right? So those two things being true.
Miami.
Right. I mean, look, he's kind of joking. He's kind of not. Like, think about this. If it were to happen in Greenville, North Carolina, what would that – I mean, Diesel, people don't know who ECU is.
They were relevant in the 90s. That's about the last time East Carolina football was nationally relevant. And that was barely nationally relevant at the time.
Wouldn't that be crazy, though? I mean,
yeah.
Here we are. Let's go, right?
I genuinely believe, though, that I mean, maybe if somebody would throw some money at him, they'd do a reality show. But I think he's pointing at the absurdity of where college football is going, where everybody's out there seeking some major donor to throw a lot of money at them so they can get a lot of really good talent. They can only have them for 1 year because, you know, these guys are all going to want to splinter off and go their own way the following season. But basically, like, hey, why not here? Let's do an all-access UTSA football. You can be in our building anytime you want. You can do anything in our building you want to. Just give us $50 million so we can go buy a roster.
I do think it will continue to trend that way.
Fundraise.
Dude Perfect, Diesel. Dude Perfect is pretty big. I don't know if Dude Perfect's like that big or not. They probably are. Dude Perfect is based out of Dallas, so maybe Dude Perfect could be like. Think about that. And that just popped in my head as that UTSA was coached. That UTSA coach was talking about that. Think about what Dude Perfect already does. Think about the venues that they already have, that they've bought, their offices, their warehouse. Like it's crazy how they've blown up, right?
They focus on the improbable, right?
Yeah.
The shot you're not supposed to be able to hit. We'll go 1,000 feet in the air on a roof of a building, and we'll make a basketball shot.
Just think if Dude Perfect said, oh, we could go to SMU, and we could now use their facility as our facility. SMU, I'm just using that as an example, Diesel, because it's in downtown Dallas, right? And I don't know. Maybe not too far-fetched. Maybe I've just put something in the ether there. But I do think it's good audio. I like what he said there.
He's begging for that money, Cole. And here's another one that maybe is a little more subtle in begging for money. This is Charles Huff, the football coach at Memphis. I think thinks he's sort of angling for a cash donation here. Tell me what you think.
Subway. It's right across the street. I mean, efficiency. It's right across the street. Like you can ask Corey. The first 2 weeks we were here, I went there like 6 times a day. I mean, every time I had a chance to get it, I'm not even. I mean, the one right across the street here. You know what I'm talking about? If you got a restaurant you want Coach Huff to frequent, move across the street. I'm gonna be there every day.
They've already got a lot of FedEx money around Memphis, but I guess he's looking for some Subway money too.
Subway.
Yeah.
Subway. He says, hey, let me ask you this, because I was thinking about that while you were playing this audio. Could we see, and maybe we do, maybe we don't, in the next 10 years in college football, could we see programs that don't have a Mark Cuban, that don't have a Mr. Beast associated with them start to, I don't want to say like fall by the wayside because Bama's still good. But what if it happened, Diesel? What if like you saw Indiana's or Mark Cuban's Indiana win it, and then East Carolina, Mr. Beast, right? Like, wouldn't that be a wild thought that you have to have a millionaire or billionaire attached to your program now to win college football games?
I'm glad you brought that up because I have some thoughts already ready to go after we play this audio from Kelvin Sampson. This is a legendary men's basketball coach. He's the head coach at the number 8 at the moment, I believe, Houston Cougars. They're a really good basketball team. He's been in this business for a long, long time. He is basically saying that as good as we are, as good a talent as we have inside the top 10, we are cash-strapped and we need money too. Here is Kelvin Sampson.
We participate in NIL just like everybody else. We know what our kids' market value is, and trust me, they're not starving here. They're getting exactly what the market is for them. But we have a very poor athletic. We're poor. We're poor when I got here. We're still poor. We probably have the lowest budget of anybody in Power 4. And the way our recruiting is going, we have to stop at some point because we don't have enough money to keep bringing in the players.
Wow. Poor. Top 10 in the country. We're poor, guys. We need cash now. We need it.
Yeah, it is where we are. Hey, let me ask you this. I don't know if this is out there. He was talking about in the very first part, in the very first piece of that audio. Can you start that over? I want to go back to something here.
All right, let's play that again.
We participate in the NIL just like everybody else. We know what our kids' market value is.
Okay, right there. So we know what our kids' market value is, and this is some research that I want to do because I did find it fascinating to think about. Okay, now you're talking about college basketball, Diesel. A few minutes ago, we were talking about college football. I wonder how market value changes based on the sport. Here's what I'm getting at. In football, like, you have to have a lot more players on your roster in football. So you would think, Diesel, and tell me if I'm right or wrong or if you follow what I'm saying. In football, you've got to have a lot more cash. In basketball, you don't have near as big of a roster as you do in football. So when you say market value for a basketball player, I wonder if their market value for a college basketball player is in any way affected by the size of the roster, just in the sense of like, hey, a quarterback might be making $2 million a year, but we can't afford to pay 60 guys on the roster $2 million. Versus where in basketball, we only have, a dozen, 15 guys on the roster. I wonder how their market value changes based on like the actual roster size, if that makes sense.
I mean, I could definitely see every coach, every GM probably has a really good idea of what their ceiling is for NIL. Like, I don't know what it is. I'm just making up a number here off the top of my head. Let's just pretend that the Houston max budget for NIL this year is probably going to be around $40 million.
Yeah.
Or let's keep it easier, $25 million. Okay, well, we can pay this kid $3 million, and we could pay that kid $5 million, and we could pay that kid $2 million. And all of a sudden, we get to a point where we're out of cash. And if we don't pay him $2 and $3 and $5 million, we're not going to get him, right? We're going to have to go down and get that $1 million kid, and we're going to have to get that $500,000 kid. So I'm sure he knows kind of what the max budget for Houston is going to be. This is all brand new. This is all going to take time to play out. You get a better sense over the course of time how much money you're probably going to get. But he is clearly saying, hey, this is Houston. There's a lot of people with a lot of money in Houston. Step up. If you want us to keep being good, if you want us to keep being a top 10 team,
we need the money. Y'all
need to throw some money at us.
Yeah. And football diesel will still dominate like total NIL dollars. I understand that. But if you're an athlete, you're having to decide, do I want to pursue college basketball or college football? Wouldn't you want to pursue college basketball just in the sense of like, you're going to get a lot more NIL money? You have to be a star in college football to demand a lot of money. Just based on fewer players equals more NIL money per athlete. College basketball teams are tiny, Diesel, compared to football teams, right? So if they have the same pool of NIL money to spread around, whether it's third-party deals or the new revenue sharing, whatever, each basketball player represents a much larger percentage of the roster. That means their per-player NIL dollars can go further in basketball when schools try to be competitive. I just find that fascinating.
I just looked this up. This is according to Google AI, okay, that the highest paid college basketball players via NIL are making upwards of $4.1 to $4.5 million.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And again, I'm not saying you don't have to be good at college basketball to make NIL. I'm just saying it feels like your chances are a little bit higher. That's a lot of money. Wow, that's insane.
To your point, what you were saying before, I genuinely believe that unless something changes, unless there's some sort of major overhaul and reform that reins NIL in, we're not going to see that fabled breakaway that everybody's been talking about of the top 48 programs. We're not going to see them actually break away, because you know what happens when you just break away? You get sued.
Sure.
If Alabama breaks away, or maybe a better one would be the Big Ten, because there's more parity between the top and the bottom of the conference. If Michigan and Ohio State break away, there goes Rutgers' meal ticket. And you're telling me that Rutgers is not going to sue those schools for trying to leave their conference? They will.
Yeah.
They'll sue them. There goes their meal ticket. They want to hang on to that meal ticket as long as they possibly can. I don't think we're actually going to see this fabled breakaway call. I think you're going to see however many programs it is, 25, 35, 40 programs, they're all going to one by one systematically cozy up to billionaires and multimillionaires. And the schools that are unable to do that, they're going to eventually say, kind of like what Coach Sampson was saying there, we can't do this anymore. They're going to say we cannot afford to spend in a way to even be in the same conference with them anymore. Not just to try to compete with them. We're never going to be able to compete with Ohio State if we're Rutgers, but we can't even stay on the same field as them because we can't keep going into this much debt. So I wonder if at some point we're going to see the bottom end of these power conferences one by one drop off and essentially go be G5 programs.
Interesting, isn't it?
And when you look at the bottom end of these conferences, the athletic budgets of the bottom end, I'm talking lowest budgets in the Power Four Kansas State, $82 million. Houston, $88 million. West Virginia, $97 million. Those are just slightly above what the top end of the G5s are spending.
It's crazy. Who knows what it will look like in 10 years. It's coming up at 6 o'clock. We're going to take a deep dive into the Super Bowl and what the matchups entail, Diesel. But some good news that could have been really scary for a former Gamecock regarding the game on Sunday. If you hadn't heard about it, maybe dodged the bullet, but we'll see how far out of the woods they are. We'll talk about it. Who am I talking about? We'll get into it next.
Text or call. One number does it all. 844-326-3663. That's 844-FAN-PHONE. This is Wire to Wire with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
Well, we'll talk about the NFL, the matchups, the game within the game in the very next segment, Diesel, and we'll even talk about the Gamecocks, Tigers not being in the Super Bowl, but, man, some really big news here. Seattle Seahawks coach Mike McDonald said today that he fully expects rookie nickel Nick Emenwari, former Gamecock, to play in the Super Bowl despite an injury scare with an ankle. So if you did not know, Diesel and Tolos, yesterday in practice, Nick Emenwari suffered a low right ankle sprain when he rolled it late in practice. The coach wasn't sure how much, if at all, Emenwari would practice Thursday. McDonald said he's doing great, moving around. Just got to make sure we handle it the right way. Probably going to be over careful and over cautious at this point to make sure we're rolling good into the weekend. But Diesel, you talk about an important part, an important piece of a rookie that stepped in and has had an exceptional season. What a scare that was, and what a big blow that would be to the Seahawks defense if Nick couldn't go on Sunday.
Yeah, it certainly would, and it would be a big blow to Nick as well. I mean, there's no guarantee you ever get back here again, right? And look, this defense is really good and looks like they're set up to be good for a while, but there is no guarantee you ever get back here, and you certainly don't want to spend your one and only trip to the Super Bowl on the sideline in a walking boot. So I don't know how much he's going to be available to play. I would hope that at the very least they get him out there for some plays, whether it's a decoy or whatever it may be. But you want to see the guy get out there and participate in the Super Bowl.
Well, Diesel, to your point about you never know when you'll make it back. I mean, if it were me, there's just no way I miss it. It didn't matter. Obviously, like if I was hurting my team, that hurt, I wouldn't want to be out there, but you'd have to force me at gunpoint not to be out there. He played 14 games this season, 81 total tackles, 56 solo tackles, 25 assisted, 2.5 sacks, 1 interception. He just came in and as a rookie made an immediate impact. And I don't know that guy's been given enough credit because it seems like every Seahawks game I've watched this year, Diesel, like big plays aren't measured statistically, but it feels like every single time I've watched a Seattle game this season, at some point in the game, the announcers are talking about a big play from Nick Emenwari, the rookie out of South Carolina. And this Seattle defense, like there's depth. I don't think if you told me Nick Emenwari wasn't going to play, I don't think I'd say, I'm changing my mind. I'm going to take the New England Patriots. But it is a big deal, and I do think it would be a big loss for the Seahawks defense. By the way, I guess it's time, Diesel, tomorrow to do our official predictions, I guess.
Oh, it is time. It's our last opportunity.
Yeah.
No more gilding the lily, as they say. We have to put it down on paper.
How are you? Let's a little tease. And again, we're going to dive into the matchup, like deep dive in the next segment. But a little tease. How are you? What's your gut telling you? Let's do it tomorrow on the show, but what's your gut telling you?
Gut's telling me that the Drake May injury is much ado about nothing, that he's going to be pretty good. But even at 100%, I think this is a tight, tough-to-win football game for the Patriots. So I've got Seattle winning in a tight game.
Yeah.
What's the spread on this? Is it still 4.5? Last I saw was
and there wasn't a ton of movement. Let me look and see, which is fascinating. Today's Thursday. It's still 4.5. Still 4.5. Not a lot of movement, Diesel.
I think there's a decent chance the Patriots cover, but at the most I see Seattle maybe winning this game by 7. Touchdown game.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm leaning in the same direction again. We'll sleep on it one more night. Diesel, and make them official tomorrow. But I think I'm with you. I think I am leaning Seattle. Here's what I don't know. I don't know how much I'm leaning Seattle yet. I don't know. I am going to pick Seattle, but I don't know by how much. I hadn't decided that yet. I hadn't gotten that. I need one more night of sleep to get to that point, Diesel. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it will. It will. Cole, when we come back, let's talk more about the Super Bowl as a matter of fact. Let's talk about matchups, position groups versus position groups, player versus player. We'll dive back into the Super Bowl conversation next. And coming up at 6:20, John Whittle of the Big Spur right here on